Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from where you are watching us from. Welcome back again to another episode of Making Kenya Better. And this morning, we are going to dissect on a topic: has modern education lost its value? That is the topic we are dissecting today. And our guest today, proudly, is Mr. Hamisi Wawire. He is a writer. He is also a teacher by profession for very many years, and therefore we would love to hear his input on the value of education at this age. So, Mr. Hamisi, welcome on set.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Hi all.
Hi.
I strongly believe that we can say that the education system in Kenya has lost the value because we are not getting the intended outcome from the lessons or the classes we are having, and therefore we can easily argue that the education system in Kenya has lost value. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hamisi. And do you think that the current education system it still serves the needs of the students as at 2025?
Sure, maybe naturally an education system cannot lose its meaning 100%. We may just say that it is still serving the value or the needs of students, but maybe we can say at 30%. But the 70% of it has lost. And that's why there is need for the change, I think.
There's sure need for the change. Do you think how do rising tuition costs and maybe the student debt factor how do they factor into the perception that education isn't worthy anymore?
How I wish, as most countries have done, people will always talk about Singapore, will talk about China, and so on, where education is free from primary to the tertiary level. If that was the case, then our education system would be good. But at the moment, I know most students are involved in looking for cash, in fact, to pay their own fees, and this has really hindered their time to study and to get the best. And even this is very common in tertiary institutions, where you will find some students enrolled in work study sessions or programs. And you may just think that whatever they are getting is pocket money. No, some of them get from those programs money, and they use it to pay fees. So the rising cost of tuition in all levels of education, whether primary, secondary, or tertiary, is working against learning in those institutions.
We also find out that in the Kenya of today, one of the main challenges that we are having is unemployment among the youth, and most of them are graduates. And we have seen that there are some who have even gotten those jobs, but it is not in the exact fields that they study for. Why do you think such gaps exist?
I think where we have reached as a country, we should change the meaning or the intention of education. In fact, we should have a motto for our education, like education for self-reliance, so that students, when they are done with education, they are trying to stand on their own and reap the best out of education. Because if you look at the rate at which we are creating jobs and at the rate at which we are churning out graduates, it is not. It is inversely proportional. You realize that if we are creating jobs maybe at 10%, the rate at which we churn out graduates is almost stands at 90%. So that simply means 80% of graduates will lack jobs. Therefore, there is need for us to realign our education objectives and accept that we are educating people to employ themselves. On the other hand, people are getting employed in the fields that they didn't train for. I think that one is also opening our eyes that, for example, a degree in education is not synonymous to a degree in teaching. We must realize that that paper is just a springboard to other fields where you can still be productive. And that's why let people get exposed and try to get jobs by creating them by themselves or outside the fields they believe they trained in, I think.
Do you think that the job market has shifted its priorities from degrees actually to skills?
Yeah, That's very, very true. And maybe maybe as maybe we make universities look very good places to be. I think it is high time also we realign university education to the rest of the colleges. You realize that maybe most institutions will value diploma because of the involvement these diplomas have as compared to degrees. There is need for the universities or institutions offering degrees to live to the expectations, so that when we have a degree holder and a diploma holder together, the rate of productivity must be almost the same. Yeah, so that we don't divert our attention to one field and ignore to the other one. Yeah, thank you.
So you actually feel that the employers right now, they care less about the formal degrees.
Exactly. That's a fact. And maybe one of the causes is that maybe the universities need a uniform examination body that will set what can be concluded as a standard exams, so that it does not look like people in universities just participate in what we call rote learning. They live with the knowledge that they cannot put in application. It will be worth if the knowledge at the university goes hand in hand with the skills. Yeah.
As the years go by, even looking at 2025, there are some aspects that are coming into the education setup. There is a lot of technology use, there is a lot of AI use, so there is a lot of online courses also coming in. There are some YouTube tutorials and all that. So do you think that self-education is actually becoming more respected as at now?
Yeah, it is. It is. Although now the setting in place will determine how respectful it can be, because some people do not believe that you can learn from your bedroom. They will want you to disappear and come back with papers. But if you just invite, they have been seeing you around and invite them for graduation, they will wonder. But I think online learning is taking over, and it's very convenient. And whoever thinks that it is not worth, I think, is in a wrong field. It is worth, and that is the way to go.
Do you feel anybody can succeed even without education? Without ever going to college, without ever going to school, do you think it is possible in your view?
In this case, maybe success is arbitrary. I may look at it at this level of leading a satisfying life and leading a successful life. Typically, we have people who are very successful but they are not satisfied. But we have these people who are not successful but they are very satisfied. But the issue is very simple. Where the world has reached, you cannot do without education. It's very hard. I think it's very hard. Because even operating a phone needs education. Yeah, so we are not like in the 1970s where we could still amass a lot without technology, without learning. But at the moment, it's like we are moving into a situation where basic education is like compulsory to everybody. So we can't totally say, we can't say people will be successful without education. It's hard. Yeah.
Mr. Hamisi, you mentioned the issue of degrees and sometimes there are no skills.
Yes.
But nowadays we also have trade schools, we have apprenticeships, we have vocational training centers also coming in. How do you think that they fit into this kind of conversation?
In fact, I think it was Uhuru's government that brought out these institutions strongly. And as a teacher, I feel that those institutions are very important in our education system. In fact, they are very basic to our education system. As a teacher, I've seen this happen. That sometimes a student qualifies to go to university, but you'll find a parent taking such a student to a technical training institute, taking them for a diploma course. Why? Because the skills offered in those institutions equips a student to be self-reliant, right? So that when the student leaves college, does not ask the parent again to look for a job for him or her. The student leaves college well equipped with skills that needs him or her to settle down and start doing something that will make him earn a living without depending on somebody or waiting for the government to employ them. So if we designed our education system to go that way, then exactly will be okay. Yeah, we will not be having this problem of lack of employment. Yeah.
And so there has been a shift from the former 844 system,
Yes.
and now we are dealing with the competency-based curriculum.
Yes.
With your knowledge and analysis on the competency-based curriculum, do you think it's going to fill some of these gaps that are existing in education?
Wow. Exactly. Okay, if there is anything that has happened in Kenya that is worth is the CBE education. However, just like 844, when 844 started, it was just the same case with this. Our attention was on skills acquisition. But with time, the government felt it was very hard to equip different institutions with the required machineries, equipments, and so on. So we moved away from the practical skills to theoretical learning. That is what watered down the 844. Now that we are rejuvenating 844 indirectly through CPE, the issue should be simple. Let us implement this new education system to the latter. If that happens, then we'll be safe as a country. Yeah.
That is very okay.
Yeah.
And do you think that society still attaches as a certain kind of stigma to those who have not gone through the formal education?
Exactly. In fact, it is too much. You know, we are expecting trends to change, but it's not possible. In fact, you will see sometimes the semi-literate people, when you are having social gatherings, they will whisper. Even if somebody who is rich is talking to them, they will whisper in Kiswahili, huyu mwenye hajasoma anatuambia nini. So at the end of the day, there is still stigmatization for those who are illiterate in the current society, and even those who are literate and they are not behaving like someone who went to school, they are still stigmatized. So it is a two-way thing that cannot be done away with unless we look to the expectations of society. Yeah.
And so, according to your input, it's like you agree to the fact that education is actually losing value and a lot actually has to be done to revive it. So, do you feel like education is, nowadays, it's more about like gaining knowledge, or it's just about getting that piece of paper?
Now, I think these things are getting worse day in, day out. Because the problem, and I think it's written by Paul Vitor in one of his books, Fathers of Nations, that the rich are the poor, the educated are poor, and the rich are not educated. And therefore, with those who are not educated are rich, and they are using their riches to buy papers. While those who have papers have no money to buy what those who are not educated have acquired, whether legally or illegally. So unless we harmonize the two so that we have educated people who are rich, there will always be a problem. Yeah, so there is need to harmonize so that if we are saying this is a PhD holder and we see the PhD in the material possessions, yeah, and especially in the politics or political field, we need these learned people to be there, and when they reach there, they are expected to behave like educated people so that they make things work out for the country. Yeah.
And so, I know you're also a very expertise person, and if you are in a position to change the curriculum or to redesign the education system right now, what are you going to change first?
The perception of education. the entire perception that education should make somebody get employed. That is the first thing I'll change. The second change I'll make is to make every level an end in itself. Like we have somebody who has been in education system. If the end is at grade 6, although we will argue that a grade 6 pupil is underage, but let us make sure that at grade 6, if somebody drops out of school, can still be productive in society.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
true.
If somebody drops out of school in junior school, should still be productive in society. So that we are not climbing the ladder that only those who reach at the apex can be productive. No. Let us make every level be an end to itself. Yeah.
So how do you feel we can better align education with the rapidly changing job market?
We live to the expectations of the job market by one, digitalizing our education system, two, developing content that is in tandem with the requirements of the job market, and three, using all means to make sure that our products compete favorably with the rest in the world in the job market. Yeah.
And so what role do you think the government should play in all this?
The government should facilitate free sharing from all stakeholders, after which, however slowly it can implement, ensure that the implementation of the new curriculum should be thorough, so that at no any given level are we hurrying it up and again at the end of the day fail. Let it be thorough so that the government puts in the required resources so that the outcome will really be a relief to the government. Yeah.
Any word of thought for us as we conclude?
I'm happy out of this interview, and I think that at the end of the day, everything we do for the betterment of this country.
That is very true.
And my prayer will be, if we cannot do it for our country, if we cannot do it for our people, and then let us do it for some power beyond us, so that we always remain responsible for our actions. Yeah. If we spoil, we are spoiling for ourselves. If we make it work, we are making it work for ourselves. The world will be a better place for all of us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Such an interesting conversation that we've had here with Mr. Hamisi Wawire. We are really grateful for your time, sir, and the input that you've also put in place here. And I feel like my audience I have seen through the comments, and I feel like they really agree with whatever is being said here. And I would really want to thank you for your time, and thank you for having us. Yeah.
Appreciate very much.
Our audience, that has been it for today. And we have been engaged so much with Mr. Hamisi Wawire. So till next time, bye bye.